us in all aspects of our lives, in body, mind, spirit, and things that are practical with feeding people and things that give us beauty like the symphony. And so pray you first take care of us and take care of us so that we can help take care of others in the same way, to serve all aspects of our community's life. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jan. And Danny, I hope a pledge is okay unless you would rather the song today.
I'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Danny. And Dawn, sorry to put you on the spot. Would you be our cheerleader today?
I will. Rotary, that spells Rotary. Rotary is known on land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, the one profits most, who serves the best. Rotary, that spells Rotary.
Thank you so much, Dawn. That was beautiful. Let's see here. We have a couple of folks here with us today. We have a visiting Rotarian, Cynthia Alvarado Stinson. There she is. Thank you, Cynthia, for joining us today. And let's see, we have somewhere between a Rotarian and a guest is Lucy Villarreal. Thank you so much for coming back, Lucy. It's good to see you and welcome. And we do have one more guest, Tony Shoemaker, and we will introduce him in just a minute. We have a few birthdays coming up this week, unless we're mistaken. Our very own Dawn has a Friday birthday. Yay, Dawn! Happy Friday birthday. And sharing a Friday birthday with Dawn is Dolores. Happy birthday, Dolores. If you're on campus and you happen to see Dolores, tell her a happy birthday also. I didn't see any wedding anniversaries this week, but we do have a couple of Rotary anniversaries. Deanne turns a Rotary 1 this Thursday, and Brenda turns a Rotary 2 on Friday. So if you see Deanne or Brenda, wish them a happy Rotary birthday. We do have a couple of announcements today. Let's start with any happy dollar announcements. And I know that Susan had a dollar burning a hole in her pocket. So Susan, you have the floor. Take it away. Susan, you're on mute.
Here you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. So a short update on our Interact program. I met with the Santa Gertrudis Academy High School principal and a couple of their teachers that will be sponsors for our Interact Club. They are 50, well, I won't say 50-50. They have some kids doing face-to-face school, but the majority of their kids are still schooling from home. And one of the things that they mentioned was that the principal mentioned was that some of that homeschooling is going to be continuing until May. And yeah, I hadn't heard that before, so it was news to me. And so we may be discussing doing a lot of our Interact online. And so we are, I have a couple of questions that I need to get answers to for them, and we are developing a flyer that and some media to kind of draw the kids in and see what kind of participation is they have there, and then kind of get with the kids, form the club, and see how they want to do it. So that's where we are. We're just beginning, but we have begun, and I'll just keep you guys updated as we move along.
That's wonderful, Susan. Thanks so much for taking the lead
Sure.
on that project. And thank you, Veronica, for helping pave the way for us to start
Yes.
our very, very own Interact Club. So thank you, both of y'all, for that. Do we have more happy dollar announcements today? Oh, that Crystal, always got $1. What you got?
So the Office of Marketing and Communications at Texas A&M University Kingsville is expanding, and we are hiring a marketing coordinator. So if you know anybody that has some experience in marketing, we're really looking for someone with higher education experience. Please have them either reach out to me directly and I can link them to the website, or they can just go to tamu.edu and look for employment, and it's the marketing coordinator position. We are looking to hire pretty quickly, so if you know someone interested, please send them our way.
Very neat. Thanks so much. Jadine, weren't you a marketing major?
That's correct. So, all right, I'll get a hold of you, Chris.
All right. Do we have any more happy dollars today? All right. We do have a few more announcements. Rotary Leadership Institute parts 1 and 2 begin this afternoon. There are more parts beginning in the future. For more information, registration, and those dates, go to lonestarrli.com to find your event. And don't forget, we're looking for 100% board participation. If you have any questions, reach out to almost any one of us. We have been through that. And our COVID meals program, let's see, I don't think I see Janine in here. But from what I understand, our recent COVID meals project went to lunch yesterday, and that was provided by Young's, and they were Texacalis, and so I can only assume that it was a 100% hit. Allison, did you have any more information on that?
No, Young's was very happy to be able to provide the meal. And so he said thank you, and I think it was delivered and went smoothly.
Fantastic. Thank you, Allison, for that. And Crystal, thank you for your donations to, I believe, a breakfast. That was fantastic. Thanks so much. And I thought I saw some more, and forgive me if who I've forgotten on that, but a community rounded event providing meals for our COVID testing folks.
Allison provided a meal, and Idotha as well. So thank y'all.
Yes. Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fantastic stuff. And it's the 15th day of the month. You know what that means. It's Invoice Day. Yay for Invoice Day. And so be looking forward to our monthly invoices going out today or shortly thereafter. And remember, on that invoice with our new monthly dues structure, our monthly dues are $25, and that includes a $10 contribution to the Rotary Foundation annual fund. That is every Rotarian every year. And remember that it goes into the big pot. It gets invested, and those are the dollars that come back to us in 3 years in the form of district grants and global grants. And this is what we use to help fund the good works that we do in the world. There's also an option to contribute to the Polio Plus Fund, and that is our polio eradicator program. And that rounds out our Foundation Minute for today. One more announcement. We are also looking very closely at starting in-person meetings. This will be a hybrid format where we will be in person and online, and so that nobody feels obligated to do one or the other. Come and join us at your comfort level. your board is working diligently on this project. We are hoping to kick this off on the last Tuesday, and this month that will be September 29th. And so what we're asking is if you have any specific questions that you would like answered in our pre-meetings with Amanda Cherry, please do feel free to email us. You can email me or anybody on the board with those questions, and we're going to go and have a pre-meeting with Amanda so that we can kind of get a game plan together so that we can provide as much information ahead of time as possible to make this a good, welcoming fellowship and comfortable, safe environment. So if you have any questions on that, let us know. We have some prospective members in the hopper. We have today our first reading of 2 prospects that have been approved by the board, and we're now at our first reading. First up is Terry Fitzwater. He is the publisher of the Kingsville Record, and he has been proposed by J. Dean Craig. He has come to us to speak to us about the paper and has been our guest several times. And so our first up was Terry. Next up is Lucy Villarreal. She is now, she keeps changing titles. 2 weeks, she's going to be the head of the school, but she is now the assistant dean of the College of Education and Human Performance. She is 1 step under Steve Bain. And so, you know, I think in a couple of weeks, he's going to be able to retire. So she has been proposed by Steve Bain. So if anybody knows of any reason why one or the other should not be considered for membership, please do reach out to your very favorite director and let them know your grievance. We have a new member orientation coming up soon. More information on that. And now, I presume J. Dean would like to introduce us to our speaker today.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Justin. And one word about Lucy. I don't think they keep changing it. I think they just keep adding to it, is what they've been doing. I think that's where you're going. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, and that's Tony Shoemaker. Tony had reached out to the club about a few weeks ago and was wanting to spread the word of a new program coming here in town. The Adult and Teen Challenge USA operates what they call a holistic model, and I look forward to hearing what that encompasses, of drug and alcohol abuse, and it's under a Christian faith. And so for over 60 years, this program has concerned itself with the body, the mind, the spirit, for those who come to their recovery centers. And Tony's in the process of putting one of these centers here in Kingsville. And so I'm very excited to hear what's coming to our town and how we can help. Tony Shoemaker, if you'll please unmute yourself and take it away.
Okay, can everybody hear me? We good? Okay. Well, I'm Tony Shoemaker. I'm with Adult and Teen Challenge of Texas. We have been operating in the state of Texas since 1968. Originally, Teen Challenge began as a ministry to gang members. A Pentecostal pastor from Pennsylvania, that's hard to say, went to New York City to minister to gang members on the streets. And from that effort, the Ministry of Teen Challenge was born. He began the first recovery program there in Brooklyn, reaching out to the gang members, the addicts in the society, to help them overcome their addictions and make them be productive members of society. So the first state that they went to beyond New York was Pennsylvania, and the following state was Texas. So in 1968, they opened one in the San Antonio area, and currently we have 8 centers operating in the state of Texas. There's a combination of men's programs, women's programs, and juvenile programs. It was just known strictly as Teen Challenge for several years, and because nowadays more of our programs tend to lean toward adult recovery, they added adult to the name and call it Adult and Teen Challenge. That holistic approach that was mentioned We try to minister to the whole person. We are a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit donor-supported ministry. We try to minister to the whole person, the spirit, mind, and body of the individual. In our case, the men come into our program. They stay for a period of 12 to 18 months. It's minimal 12-month residential recovery. During that time, our primary focus, being a ministry, is that we're trying to point them back to a relationship with God, because we feel like that's the one major step. If we can get them in the relationship they should have with God, then God will do the cleanup work that's necessary and transform them into the person that they're intended to be. So our model is based on transformation rather than, what's the word I'm looking for? Treatment. It's not really a treatment program. So we kind of shy away from rehab, and we don't want it to look like jail in any way. Kingsville at the old BRD bed and breakfast, if any of you all are familiar with that property. It's on County Road 2215 East, about a mile off of 77 toward Ricardo, Riviera, that area. Beautiful property. It's going to serve us very well. Kings Way Family Church in Kingsville currently owns it. We're going to be leasing it from them for a period of time with intentions of purchasing it and making it a permanent facility for us. So the biggest difference in the Teen Challenge model and a secular program is our focus on God, our focus on that relationship with Christ. We call it the Jesus factor. And we feel like that is the major component in that transformation process. As was said earlier, we've been operating for over 60 years total, so we have a pretty good success rate. We actually, I hate to use the word boast, but we do have a success rate in the 70% range of people who actually complete our program. That's a pretty high success rate. Now, granted, probably only 1 in 3 that come to us actually finish the program. We have a lot of people that come and they will come for a few days and think maybe it's not for them, or a few weeks and decide it's not for them. Sometimes those very people who think it's not for them, I feel like have to leave the program in order to understand that the program is what they need to get the foundation that's necessary for their lives. So I have had gentlemen leave the program and call me from the bus station before they even boarded the bus to go home and tell me that they've made a mistake and they want to come back and have another go at it. Through this process, they go through a series of studies, and it's basic life issues that we teach. We teach from a biblical perspective. They go through 14 different classes as part of their training that deals with things like overcoming temptations, dealing with failures, obedience to God, obedience to man, dealing with anger, personal relationships with other people. And those are all components to a healthy lifestyle. So, in addition to that, we want to teach them some basic job skills. We want to teach them a work ethic. We help them get their GED if they didn't complete high school, because we want them, once they leave our program, to be, more marketable as an employee and have more resources available to them so that they don't revert back to the previous lifestyle. A lot of these people come to us strictly voluntary. Sometimes they are sort of pushed toward us by family, or maybe sometimes by their church family and pastor. We do get people who are court ordered as well. So we're accustomed to dealing with a degree of legal issues. We do not accept people that have violent criminal offenses. We don't accept sex offenders, and we're not medical people, so we can't administer any major medications, any mood altering or anything that's potentially addictive. We can't really have on the property. So there's kind of a process of elimination of getting people into the program, because we want to do the best job we can with the people that God brings into our programs. We do not charge a monthly rental or tuition. They are asked to pay an admission fee, an entry fee when they come in. Most of the time, we we end up negotiating that lower or sometimes waiving it altogether, because in the end, we're a ministry more so than a business, although there is a business aspect of ministry. Obviously, we have bills that have to be paid and food that has to be provided, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of these folks that come to us have pretty much been dismissed by their families as beyond hope, as unredeemable, and we want to be that source of hope for them. So most of the people that work in our program have been through the program or have dealt with their own addiction issue themselves. I myself am a recovered alcoholic, so that makes it able for me to relate to these young men and able for them to relate to me, because I've walked the same path that they're on. I understand the fractured family relationships. I understand the work-related issues. I understand just the toll that lifestyle takes on an individual. So it makes it easier for them to be trusting and accepting of people who have been where they are. We plug into a lot of the local churches. I'm hoping that those of you here today will kind of help open doors to the churches that you're involved in. We also plug into the local community. We want to be good neighbors. We want to be able to give back as much as we're trying to receive from the community. So we want to be involved in community cleanups, local events and festivals and things of that nature as well. So the program itself, as I said, is not a jail type campus. The residents are free to leave if they choose to leave. Obviously, we're going to counsel them against that, but they are free to leave if they choose to. Now, the ones who are court ordered, if they decide to leave, there's a little more to it, because we have to communicate with the legal authorities and make them aware of the situation. But people can be discharged also from the program if they prove to be non-compliant with rules. All in all, our hope, we're going to be starting with just a few students and a few staff members. I actually have 2 staff members that are coming down this weekend that are going to be moving into the property to help me get everything set up and established. In the end, we're hoping that we'll house about 30 to 35 men as a whole. So we're going to be looking for work opportunities in the community. Work is a component of the program. It's a very structured, almost a military-ish type environment. They get up at the same time every day. They have their meals, their showers, their class time, their work time. There's designated periods of time set up for their personal devotion time, for corporate worship times. And we want to get them working in the community. So since we don't charge a tuition or a rental fee of any kind, the way that works is it's sort of like singing for your supper. They go out, they're contracted for a labor force, and they'll go out and do work in the community, but the money paid for their labor is paid back to the program rather than paid to the individuals. So that enables us to be able to pay the power bill and the water bill and the phone bill that's associated with operating the ministry. So that's kind of where the local community comes in. As leaders in the community, as I know you all are, you have the opportunity to partner with us as we launch this ministry and going forward. You can sponsor students. You know those neat little child sponsorship things that you get advertisements for all the time? Well, we kind of do the same thing with Teen Challenge students, although sometimes they're kind of grizzled older guys, so they're not near as cute and it's a harder sell. But you can sponsor them for $35 a month. You can make monthly contributions to the program. You can use them for a work course and contribute that way. We are a nonprofit, so there are some tax advantages to that as well. You can assist us with goods and services. We're all the time needing vehicles, appliances, toiletry items, bedding, clothing, repairs, air conditioning and appliance repairs. We're constantly doing renovations of some sort to various areas of our campuses. So we're always in need of building supplies, paint, sheetrock, lumber, those kind of things. So anything that you're able to contribute would be, beneficial to us. And I actually have a needs list that I put together that I'll be glad to share with anyone. But I did want to kind of leave some time for questions and answers. Did see the question about the beginning capacity, and as I said, it's going to start small. We'll just have a few students when we open up, and we will be expanding as we go. I'm hopeful that in 6 months' time, we'll be pretty much at full capacity. And our main area is going to be, Corpus Christi southward to the border. So I'll be calling on churches and businesses in that entire region. And not only for support, but for us to be an extension of the community and of the churches to kind of help deal with the addiction issues that are so prevalent nowadays. There's very few families nowadays that are not touched in some way by addiction. So we want to be able to help that situation.
And so, Tony, one of the other questions that we got privately, I know you see the public questions here, and you touched on this a little bit with the area that you serve. How was Kingsville selected? Was it just the geographic center of your planned service area, or how did you come to Kingsville?
Well, we came to Kingsville because a property was made available to us in Kingsville by Kingsway Assembly of God. We were looking to do something somewhere in the Corpus Christi vicinity. So we're going to be doing all of the Corpus Christi metropolitan area as well as down in the Rio Grande Valley.
Great. And so then our next one on the list is, do you expect most of the students to come from the South Texas area?
In general, most of the students will come from South Texas. You always have some that contact you that are probably at a distance that want to get away from the environment that they're in. For instance, I was with Alabama Teen Challenge for several years. That's why you hear this playing in my voice. I'm a redneck from Alabama. I had people come from Florida, from Louisiana. I had one boy that came from Ohio. I'm still not sure how I ended up with a boy from Ohio, but he came to Alabama Teen Challenge and ended up being successful in the program. But in general, the community, there's plenty in the community for us to pull from without having to go outside too much. As far as women's facilities, there is a women's facility in the Houston area. There is a women's facility in San Antonio area. And once we get the men's program up and running, our hope is to launch a women's facility somewhere in this vicinity as well. We do make presentations at local churches. I've been knocking on doors at churches since I've been here. I had a meeting this morning with a pastor in Taft, and spent some time with him and had a really good meeting, and I'm hoping that's going to open some doors for me. So we're Assembly of God in our roots, but we present ourselves pretty much as interdenominational because we have people that come to us from all denominations. So the principle is just biblical rather than doctrinal or denominational. I have not really reached out to school districts too much yet. I'm hoping once this COVID craze is over that I can get into some of the schools. We like to do assemblies in middle schools and high schools and take some of our guys to share their stories. So hopefully we can help young people avoid making poor decisions that we have made.
And so that's a good segue into one of our next questions, which is, how has the current health crisis, the COVID crisis, complicated some of your efforts?
Well, it's complicated in just that I'm not as able to go and visit people as I did. We're not able to do our church presentations like we've always done. Time was, we were at a different church every Sunday, and one of us as leaders was sharing what Teen Challenge was all about, and we have some of our students to share their stories and testimonies of where they've come from, and just to minister to the people. You'd be surprised. I always have guys who are reluctant to tell their stories, but you'd be surprised at how there always seems to be someone in the crowd that their story speaks specifically to. So it always seems to work. We used to do a lot of storefronts with Walmarts. We would set up and sell crafts and share literature about our program and pray with people and just try to spread the word about who we were, to make ourselves known. We haven't been able to do that because, well, as you know, Walmart is operating differently now. So since there's one way in and one way out, having people in the doorways would be kind of an impediment rather than anything beneficial. So we haven't been able to do that. Schools obviously have not been operating. Some of them are starting to open back up. I feel like they're going to be somewhat reluctant to bring outsiders in, mainly because of the COVID thing for the time being. I do want to be knocking on those doors. Businesses are operating differently. A lot of people are working from home. So even when I go and visit business people, you know, a lot of times I'm not able to speak to people in person because, well, you have people telecommuting rather than working in the office. So it's challenged things considerably. And being a donor-supported ministry, since people's pay has been impacted, churches' donations have been impacted, businesses' benevolence programs that they do and outreaches have been impacted. So that in turn means that, you know, we have been impacted on the financial side as well.
Now, what about when you have a new consumer coming in? Do you have to quarantine them for a period of time, or do you get them tested right away, or what's that process? Has that been an extra complicating factor?
It does. Yeah, we do have to quarantine them for a period of time. We do have to check their temperature regularly for the first couple of weeks, just to make sure that we're not introducing anything into the program. We have to be really cautious when we go out and take the guys out to work assignments and things, to be sure that we're, you know, not exposing them in any way. So there are major complications in the ministry world with COVID-19. Obviously, the men live in a dorm type or a barrack style environment, so it's hard to separate them individually in the campus. We do try to, you know, do the mask and the temperatures and the hand sanitizers and keep things clean, obviously, because, well, that's necessary anyway. I don't know if any of you have ever lived with 25 or 30 men, but it has its challenges.
And so you touched on this a little bit earlier about the court-ordered aspect, and you said that the rest admit themselves. Is that right?
Right. We have a lot that come to us strictly voluntarily. They realize they've gotten to a point that, you know, they need help. And I have people call all the time. I have moms and wives and grandparents that'll call and say, you know, what can I do to make him? And you can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. So I always just tell them, you know, just keep loving them, keep praying for them, and pray that they'll get to the place. They have to get to a point of desperation where they'll reach out for help before they'll actually accept help. If anyone's kind of emotionally manipulated into coming in, it turns out bad for everybody involved. They're not dedicated to doing it. The family gets their hopes up and they just get their heart broke again because they're not successful in it.
And Tony, remind us, you're going to be the director of the Kingsville facility. Is that correct?
That is correct. My wife and I will be living on the property. The rest of the staff will be living on the property. So it is monitored 24/7. Students aren't allowed to be off the property without supervision. So it won't be, you know, people roaming about. Of course, it's kind of out in the country anyway, but it won't be people roaming about and showing up at people's homes or anything of that nature. It's a very strictly operated and monitored campus. We'll have cameras on all the exit doors to be sure that we monitor who's coming and going.
Do we have anything else for Tony today? All right. Well, Tony, we certainly do appreciate your time with us today. And, you know, maybe if there are a couple of after meeting questions, maybe you can stick around for a couple of minutes.
Sure, be glad to. And I'll share my contact information with anyone that wants it. You know, my phone number and email address and all.
Well, that's great, Tony. And are you in a position to put that into the chat box? That way everybody has that available right
I
here
absolutely
now.
can.
Wonderful. Thanks
Absolutely
so
can.
much. So while you're working on that, formulate any after meeting questions if you so have. But we will get on to the next segment of our program today. Mark your calendars. So again, tonight we have our next start of the beginning of Rotary Leadership Institute's parts 1 and 2. This Friday is the next installation of the Together for Peace lectureship series. Zoom link is in your bulletin. If you have any questions, ask Jay Dean. We are shooting for the last Tuesday in September, that is September 29th, to be our first in-person hybrid meeting. And so that means that we will not only be in person at the restaurant, but we will also have a Zoom component to that. More information coming on that. If you have any questions that you would like answered, do send those to us in an email so that we can be sure to raise those questions to Amanda. And the first and what would that be, the third Saturdays in October are our next district training components. We have things all over the place. Go to the district website to learn more. But we will have some more district trainings coming up beginning the first Saturday in October. Of course, we have our next Rotary After Dark the second Wednesday in October. And the second to last Saturday in October is World Polio Day. And you know that we will be doing something for World Polio Day. We have a few options, more information coming on that. Any questions on our upcoming events? Fantastic. Does anybody else have anything for the good of Rotary today? Crystal, what you got for us?
So I'll say mine, and then there's one in the chat. The city has received some more dates for the COVID-19 testing. They're not out on the website yet, so Janine will be posting that soon. But if Rotary would like to sponsor another meal, that button is still on our square, and they're very, very grateful for any help that they do get. So again, that is available. They will be back next week. I just don't have the exact dates yet. And then in the chat, the message from Richard is the October 14th meeting for Rotary Radicals?
No. Rotary, RAD stands for Rotary After Dark. Thank you so much for that. I presume that's where that was going. Does anybody else have anything for the good of Rotary? Okie dokie. It's time to go to the leaderboard for our weekly Paul Harris drawings. Let's see who we have in the running this week. Okie dokie. And if we can get a countdown, please, of 3, 2, 1. And our winner is 2. Haha, look at that. Dawn, we're winners. Yay for us. All right. Not rigged at all. Not rigged at all. And don't forget, every week we have our Paul Harris drawings, and those are from our weekly Connect reports. So please do connect and play again. And if you will now, join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you so much. We stand adjourned. Y'all have a great day. Thank you, Tony, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.